Hello coders, I hope you are coding well. In the previous video, we created modules for admin and customer, and after this we wrote the code to redirect the users to their dashboards in our Angular application. And in today's video, we will create Jwt Auth filter, which will validate the Jwt token and set the security context in our Spring Boot application. So let's get started. So in our Spring Boot application, we need to create a new class, and to do this we will right click on this configs folder and we will choose new Java class, and we will name this class as Jwt authentication filter. And after this, for the component scan, we will annotate this with @component annotation, and we will import it from Spring Framework dot stereotype. And after this, to get the constructor, we will annotate this with @required args constructor from Lombok. And after this we need to extend this class, so we will write extend, and after this we will mention once per request filter, and we will import it from Spring Framework web filter. And after this will ask us to implement the methods, so we will implement this to filter internal method, and we will click on this OK button. And as you can see, we got the method do filter internal, and in this class we need to inject Jwt util and user service. So we will write private, and after this we will mention final and then Jwt util, and we need to import it from hotel server dot util. And after this we will name this as Jwt util, and after this we will mention private final, and here we need to mention user service, and we will import it from services.jwt, and after this we will name this as user service. And after this we will go to the body of this to filter internal method, and in the body of this method, first of all we need to get the auth header, so we will write final and we will create a variable of type string, and we will name this as auth header. And after this we will use request, and then we will call get header method to get the header, and in the params we will pass a string authorization. And after this we need to check this auth header, so we will write if condition, and in this if condition we will use string utils, and we will import it from apache.commons.lang3. And after this we need to check if our auth header is empty, and to do this we will call isEmpty method, and in the params we will pass the auth header. And after this we will write or, and we need to write another condition here, and in this condition we need to check if our auth header starts from the word bearer, and to do this we will again use string utils, and this time we will call starts with method, and in the params of this method we will pass auth header, and after this we need to pass the prefix which is bearer. And at the end of this if condition, let's mention a not sign here, and here we are checking if our auth header is empty or if our auth header does not start from the word bearer, and in this case we will call the filter chain for the next filter, and after this we will return the API call. So let's use the filter chain, and after this we will call do filter, and in the params of this method we need to pass the request and response, so we will mention request and response. And after this we will write a return statement, and if our auth header is not empty and starts with the word bearer, then we can go and we can extract the token from the auth header. So after the if condition we will create a variable, and the data type of this variable will be string, and we will name this as Jwt. And after this we will set the value in this Jwt, so we will write Jwt is equals to, and here we will use auth header and we will call substring method, and in this we need to pass the index, and let's give it as 7 because this bearer and space contains 7 characters. And after this we need to extract the username from this Jwt, so let's create another variable, and the data type of this variable will be string, and we will name this variable as user email. And after this we will set the value in this user email, and to set the value we will use Jwt util, and after this we will call extract username method, and in this we need to pass the token, so let's pass the Jwt here. And after this we need to check this user email, so we will write if condition, and in this we will use string utils, and after this we will call is non-empty method, and in this we will pass the user email, and after this we need to check if our security context holder is equals to null. So we will write and after this we will mention security context holder, and we will import it from security.core.context, and after this to get the context we will call get context method, and in this we will call get authentication and we will compare it with null. And in the body of this if condition we need to get the user details because our user email is not empty. And before this, let's replace this non-empty method with is not empty method. And after this, we will create the object of user details and we will import it from core.userdetails. And after this we will name this as user details, and to set the value in it we will use our user service and we will call user details service dot load user by username. And in the params of this method we need to pass the username, so let's pass the user email, and after this we need to check if our JWT token is valid, so we will write if condition and we will use JWT util, and after this we will call is token valid method, and in the params of this method we need to pass the JWT and user details, so we will mention JWT and then we will pass user details, and if it is true then our API call is valid. And in the body of this if condition we need to update the security context holder, and to do this we will create security context object and we will import it from core.context and we will name this as context, and after this we will use security context holder, and in this we will call create empty context, and after this in this context we need to set the auth token and details. So first of all we need to create the auth token, and to create the auth token we will create the object of user password authentication token and we will name this as auth token and we will initialize it with new username password authentication token. And in the params of this method we need to pass the user details and authorities, so we will mention user details, and after this for the password let's pass it as null, and then we need to pass the authorities, so we will write user details and we will call get authorities method, and after this we need to set the details in this auth token, so we will use auth token and we will call a method set details, and in this we need to pass web authentication details source, so let's create a new object of a web authentication source details and we will import it from web.authentication, and after this we will call a method build details and in this we will pass the request. And with this our auth token is completed. Now we need to set this auth token in the context, so we will use context and we will call set authentication and in the params we will pass auth token, and after this we need to update the security context holder, so we will write security context holder, and after this we will call a method set context and in the params we will pass the context. And with this our JWT token validation is completed. Now we need to call the filter chain, so after the if condition we will call filter chain and we will call do filter method, and in this we need to pass the request and a response, so the Spring Security can apply the other filters, and with this our JWT authentication filter is completed. And now let's run our application. And as you can see our application is up on port 8080 without any errors. And that's it for today's video. In the next video we will update our simple course filter so it can validate the APIs according to the user role, and after this we will create the rooms entity in our Spring Boot application.